Dear aviators, karibu sana. Welcome back to the discussion about the United Republic of Tanzania, Chapter 80, the Civil Aviation Act, which is the principal legislation to govern the aviation industry in the country. Yours is Maximilian Philbert. Today is Module 3. Hope you watched and listened to Module 1 and Module 2. Module 3 discussion will comprise of Part 9 and Part 12 of the Civil Aviation Act. In Part 9, we shall be able to see the Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority, TCAA, the function and powers of the board, nomination committee, the Director General, divisional directors, and the consultants and other staffs of the Tanzanian Civil Aviation Authority. In Part 12, we shall discuss about the Council, which is the Tanzanian Civil Aviation Authority Consumer Consultative Council. It is function, it is powers, as well as the funds of the council and the annual report. Lastly, we shall be able to review the possible questions that can be asked to test your understanding on the Civil Aviation Act. You are most welcome. Karibu sana. Let's be together till the very end. Thank you. Disclaimer. This presentation is solely intended for educational reasons, and they will not replace any document or portion thereof supplied by the government of the United Republic of Tanzania or any of our authorities. The original documents can be obtained in the Tanzanian Civil Aviation Authority website. Please download it for your reference. Thank you. Part 9, the Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority. Part 9 of Chapter 80, the Civil Aviation Act, established the body to be known as the Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority, also known by its acronym TCAA. The authority shall be a body corporate and is given the powers to sue and being sued, acquiring, holding, and disposing of a real and personal property, given the powers to borrow, exercise the powers and performing the functions granted upon it by or under the Civil Aviation Act, and also given the powers to enter into any contract or other transactions. The common seal, which is the authority's stamp or signature that authenticates and executes legal documents of the authority, shall be duly affixed, means here being attached or executed in a proper way if witnessed under the hand of the Director General or the Secretary of the authority and or any other person who is duly authorized on that behalf. Duty of the authority. It shall be the duty of the authority that in carrying out its functions, it shall strive to enhance the welfare of Tanzanian society by promoting the effective competition and economic efficiency, protecting the interest of consumers, protecting the financial viability of efficient suppliers, promoting the viability of regulated services to all consumers, including the low-income, rural, and disadvantaged consumers, enhancing public knowledge, awareness, and understanding of the regulated sectors, and taking into account the need to protect and preserve the environment. Functions of the authority. After discussing the duty of the authority, now let us see the functions of the authority. The functions of the authority shall be to perform the following: to issue, renew, vary, and cancel air service licenses, to establish standards for regulated goods and regulated services, to establish standards for the terms and conditions of supply of the regulated goods and services, to regulate rates and charges, to make rules for carrying out the purposes and provisions of the Civil Aviation Act, monitor the performance of the regulated suppliers, including in relation to the levels of investment, availability, quality, and the standards of the service, the cost of the service, the efficiency of production and the distribution of services, and other matters relevant to the authority. Other functions of the authority include to facilitate the resolution of complaints and disputes, disseminate information about matters relevant to the functions of the authority, consult with other regulatory authorities or bodies, or institutions discharging functions similar to those of the authority in the United Republic of Tanzania and elsewhere, administer the Civil Aviation Act, and plan, develop, regulate, and promote operations of a safe, secure, and efficient civil aviation system. Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority also has the responsibility to conduct safety, security, and the economic oversight of the aviation industry, establish and implement the state safety program, establish an acceptable level of safety, advise the government on matters concerning civil aviation, coordinate search and rescue operations of aircraft, deal with the acts of unlawful interference, establish, manage, and operate training institutions for the industry, as well as to plan, develop, and formulate the safe, secure, and efficient management of the Tanzanian airspace. The following are to be taken into consideration when the authority executes its functions. First, the authority in the discharge of its functions shall not perform its activities in contravention of any international agreement to which the United Republic of Tanzania is a part. Second, in the performance of its functions, the authority shall not award or cancel an exclusive license or a universal service obligation license without a prior consultation with the minister. Third, the minister may give to the authority directions of a specific or general character on a specific issues for the purpose of securing the effective performance by the authority of its policy, functions, and compliance with the code of conduct. And this direction given by the minister shall be in writing and published in the Government Gazette. Fourth, in addition to its regulatory functions, the authority may provide air navigation services, provided that it shall not provide aeronautical meteorological services, which are provided by the Tanzania Meteorological Authority, TMA. Fifth, in providing air navigation services, the authority shall ensure that a clear distinction and separation between its regulatory and the operational functions is maintained. Functions and powers of the board. The board shall generally be responsible for ensuring that the performance and the management of the functions and affairs of the authority are carried out in an efficient, transparent, and ethical manner. The board shall have the following functions: set the authority's strategic objectives and value, review management performance standards, ensure that the necessary resources are in place for the authority to meet its objectives, provide public education on the functions and obligations of the authority, determine and set priorities of the general performance and the targets of the authority, ensure that the measures for the development of the civil aviation are in place and implementable, consider and advise the minister on the development and the maintenance of the civil aviation policy framework, and such other matters affecting the civil aviation as it considers desirable in the interest of the civil aviation in the United Republic of Tanzania. Also, perform such other functions not inconsistent with the Civil Aviation Act as the minister may direct, as well as approve the budget of the authority. Powers of the board. The board shall, in the discharge of its function, have the following powers: direct the Director General to furnish it with any information, reports, or other documents with which the board may require. Give lawful instructions and orders in writing to the Director General in connection with the management and performance of the authority. Approve any organizational structures submitted by the Director General, and is subject to the approval of the Minister. Determine the terms and conditions of the service, salaries, and other allowances, including any other fringe benefits for the Director General and the other directors. A nomination committee. The Civil Aviation Act established the nomination committee, which shall be comprised of 4 persons as follows. The permanent secretary of the ministry, who shall be the chairman of the committee, 2 other persons representing the private sector, and 1 other person representing the public sector nominated by the minister. One of the 2 persons representing the private sector in the nomination committee shall be nominated from the legally recognized body representative of the private sector interests, and the other person shall be nominated by the council. We shall later discuss about the council. Also, the authority shall pay all such allowances, fees, and any other expenses incurred by the nomination committee, consultants, or any other person in the course of the duties of the authority, as it may be approved by the minister. Functions of the nomination committee. The function of the nomination committee shall be to invite applications, scrutinizing and shortlisting of persons who apply for appointment as the members of the board of directors and director general of the authority. The nomination committee may take such actions as are reasonably necessary to identify and attract the best candidates by advertising. The nomination committee shall submit to the ministers the following: 5 names of persons to be forwarded to the president to be considered for appointments of chairman and vice chairman of the board, 8 names of persons to be considered for appointment as members of the board, and 3 names of persons to be considered for appointment as the Director General. The Director General. The Director General of the authority is the person responsible for the day-to-day operations of the authority and is appointed by the minister from amongst the list of the names submitted by the nomination committee. To qualify for appointment as a Director General, you should have the following qualifications: be a graduate of a recognized university, possess at least 10 years of experience in one or more of the fields of management, aeronautics, law, economics, finance, or engineering, have a knowledge and experience of the air transport sectors, and be willing to serve as a Director General. The Director General shall be appointed to serve on terms and conditions as set out in the letter of his appointment, or determined by the Board of Directors with the approval of the Minister. The Director General shall also be the Chief Executive Officer, the CEO, of the authority and shall not engage in any other paid employment. The Director General shall not participate in any of the deliberations or decisions of the board relating to its terms and conditions of employment. Also, the Director General, being responsible for the day-to-day operations of the authority, will be subjected to the directions of the board. Specific functions of the Director General. The Director General shall be responsible for the discharge of the duties as provided in the Civil Aviation Act and any other written law that are necessary for the purpose of giving effect to the Chicago Convention and other international agreements relating to civil aviation. Also providing for the control, regulation, and order development of the civil aviation and implementing the national civil aviation policy. Objectives of the Director General. The following are some of the objectives of the Director General as he is performing his functions: maintenance of an orderly air transport system in the United Republic of Tanzania, provision of a safe, orderly, and expeditious air transport control service, maintenance of approved technical standards of aircraft, operation of aviation infrastructure, overseeing the competence of aeronautical personnel, ensuring the integrity of the systems, equipment, and facilities of the authority, ensuring safety and security of the aviation system, in production of accurate, timely, comprehensive, and relevant air transport information for planning and decision-making purposes. Divisional directors. The authority shall employ divisional directors, each with the responsibilities for a particular air transport sector. The authority shall appoint a person as a divisional director only if he shall have provable knowledge and the appropriate experience in relation to the relevant sector. The divisional director shall serve the authority for a term of 5 years and may be reappointed for such term or terms as the authority deems fit. The TCAA divisional directors include the following: the Director of Safety Regulations, the Director of Economic Regulations, the Director of Air Navigation Services, the Director of Corporate Services, and the Director of Legal Services. Consultants and other staff. The authority shall employ officers, staff, and the employees of the authority of such a number and titles as may be necessary for the efficient discharge of the functions of the authority, and on such terms and conditions as may be determined by the board. The authority may also appoint consultants and experts of the authority in various disciplines on such terms and conditions that the authority may from time to time determine. And on regard to that, the authority shall establish and comply with competitive selection procedure for the appointment of all employees, consultants, and experts. Part 12. The Council. The Civil Aviation Act established the Council to be known as the Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority Consumer Consultative Council. This council shall consist of not less than 5 and not more than 10 members, appointed by the minister from amongst a list of names provided by the members of the business community or by an organization or organizations legally recognized as being representative of private sector interest. Before making the appointments of the members of the council, the minister shall by notice publish in the Gazette and in any newspaper or newspapers circulating widely in the country to invite nominations for the appointments, and having received them, publish the names and call for the comments, objections, or representations from the public. The Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority Consumer Consultative Council should have a knowledge and understanding of the interests of the consumers and that of the regulated services, including the interests of the following: the low income, rural and disadvantaged persons, industry and business users, and the government and the community organizations. The Council shall make its own rules for regulating its procedures and other matters relating to its functions. The minister shall appoint the chairman, and the members of the council shall elect the vice chairman from amongst themselves to lead the Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority Consumer Consultative Council. Functions of the council. The council shall have powers and perform the following functions: represent the interest of consumers by making submissions, providing views and information to the authority and to the minister. Receive and disseminate information and views on matters of interest to the consumers of regulated goods and services. And also establish local and regional consumer committees and consult with them. Also, the council shall have the functions to consult with the industry, the government, and other consumer group on matters of interest to the consumers of regulated goods and services. Powers of the council. The council shall have powers to regulate its own procedure in relation to the performance of its business. The authority shall, in the first 3 years of the existence of the council, provide for the secretariat functions of the council, and thereafter the council shall maintain its own secretariat. The chairman in consultation with the members, may convene the meeting of the council at least 4 times a year. The chairman shall preside at the meeting of the council, and in his absence, members present may appoint one of them to preside at the meeting. And the quorum at the meeting of the council shall be 3 members. Funds of the council. The funds and resources of the council shall come from the followings: the parliament for the purpose of the council, the authority for the purpose of the council, also from the grants, donations, bequests, or other contributions, and also the fund and resources from the members of the business community and organizations representative of the private sector. Annual report of the council. The council shall prepare an annual report in relation to each year ending 30th June and submit it to the minister before 30th November in that year. This annual report shall provide detailed information regarding the activities of the council during the previous year ending 30th June and any additional information requested by the minister. And the minister shall table in the National Assembly the annual report of the council within 28 days of the receipt or on the first sitting day. The annual report of the council shall also include the financial statements of the council for the immediately preceding financial year and the auditor's report based on the financial statements. And the council shall prepare a budget and submit it to the minister for the approval before the end of each financial year for the following financial year, showing estimates of the receipts and expenditures for the following financial year. You are now welcome to review with me some questions on the Civil Aviation Act. The question number 1 asks that what is TCAA and its purpose? TCAA is an acronym for Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority, and the Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority is the government body that regulates air services and airport services and provides air navigation services in the United Republic of Tanzania. Question number 2, when was TCAA established? The Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority was established on November 1st, 2003, and it was created by an Act of Parliament, which is the Civil Aviation Act, Cap 80 of 2003. Question number 3, how did the current civil aviation regulation come into being? The current civil aviation regulation came into being through the Civil Aviation Act, which is the principal legislation of the Parliament of the Tanzania, empowering the appropriate minister responsible for civil aviation to make regulations. Question number 4, when was the current revision of Cap 80 published? The current Cap 80 at the time of the recording of this video was on 2nd October 2020. Let us continue with revision questions now to number 5 that asks who are affected by the civil aviation regulations. The civil aviation regulations affect airlines, maintenance organizations, aviation colleges, licensed aircraft maintenance engineers, pilots, cabin crews, aircraft owners, and air traffic controllers. Question number 6. What is regulation in relation to civil aviation? Regulation in relation to civil aviation is a process through which laws related to all areas of civil aviation industry are made in the United Republic of Tanzania. Question number 7 asks about who writes regulations. The minister responsible for civil aviation has the powers to make the civil aviation regulations. Question number 8. What is Cap 8A? Cap 8A is a chapter or a principal legislation or law in the Constitution of the United Republic of Tanzania, which stipulates rules and regulations which govern aviation industry in the United Republic of Tanzania. Question number 9. What is the origin of Cap 8A? Cap 8A originates from a white paper converted into a bill through 3 sittings of a parliament. Question number 10. When you look at Cap 8A, what do you see at the top? When I look at Cap 8A, at the top, I see the words Civil Aviation Act, which is Cap 8A, Revision 2020. Question number 11. What is an act? An act is an item in the Constitution as a principal legislation after enactment by the Parliament. Let us continue to question number 12. Name some civil aviation regulations. Some of the civil aviation regulations include the Civil Aviation Airworthiness Regulations, Civil Aviation Personnel Licensing Regulations, Civil Aviation Aircraft Nationality and Registration Markings Regulations, Civil Aviation Approved Maintenance Organization Regulations, Civil Aviation Approved Training Organization Regulations, Civil Aviation Instruments and Equipment Regulations, and Civil Aviation Air Operator Certificates Regulations. Question number 13 asks about the process of obtaining an act. In Tanzania, an act of parliament is obtained through the process which can be broken down into 3 main processes. The first one is the bill drafting and introduction. Here, a bill, which is the proposed law, is usually initiated by the government minister or a member of parliament. And the second stage, the parliamentary debate and passage. Through the 3 parliamentary sittings, the bill is presented to the National Assembly for debate, amendment, and being voted. And the last process is the presidential assent and the promulgation. Here is that once the bill is passed by the National Assembly, the bill is sent to the President for assent, and now it can become an act or the nation's law. Question number 14 asks about how is Cap 8A structured. The Cap 8A is structured with the parts which are in capital Roman letters and sections which are in Arabic numbers. Question number 15. What does Section 4 say? The Section 4 of the Civil Aviation Act gives the general powers to make regulations, and here is that the minister is the one being given the powers to make the civil aviation regulations. Question number 16 asks you to mention some other sections that you know from the Cap 8A. I tried to put forward some of them, but you can also have some more. Some other sections include Section 5, which is the indication of presence of obstructions. Section 11, powers to detain and search aircraft. Section 12, which is about detention of aircraft. And Section 29, which is for establishment of the authority. Question number 17 is asking how many sets of regulations are there. up to the moment of recording this presentation, there are 67 regulations which include the amendments. Dear aviators, we have reached at the end of our discussion about the Civil Aviation Act of the United Republic of Tanzania, Cap 80. It is my hope that we have together learned a lot. I thank you very much for choosing our channel. Kindly like, share, comment and subscribe, and let us meet on another topic. Thank you. Asante sana na karibu pia.